So we have this simple model that we call our up, up, down model. And so the idea of up, up, down is we want margins up, capital up, risk down. Margin is all about, can I exist today? Can I continue to live day to day? So a great example of this would be if we took a brief story and we said, you've been washed up on a desert island, Gabe, and you don't know what to do, and you decide that the first thing you're going to do is you're going to try and catch a fish. And you catch a fish every day, and it takes you all day to grab a fish with your hand and get your fish, but you're eating and you're surviving, right? And then after a couple of days, you decide that, like, this is no good. I'm spending all day catching a fish. I eat one fish. I'm not getting ahead. What am I going to do? And so maybe one day you start catching 2 fish. You have got to try extra hard. You're staying up late. It's a lot of work. You catch 2 fish, and that means the next day you can eat that fish while you work on a net. And what you're doing here is, once you've established that net after a week of hard work, all of a sudden you can catch a week's worth of fish in one go, right? This is like the equivalent of margin up. It's like, how do I get a lot more output for my effort right now so that I can get my head above water, I can see what I'm doing, and I've won time now to then focus on what I need to do next.
Okay.
And if we expand this analogy, say you're on the desert island and you realize, it's great, I've got a week's worth of fish here, but the fish spoil after a few days. So whilst I'm quicker, I've got the margin, there's something else that I need to go. So being an enterprising young soul, what you decide to do is you dig out a big trench and you flood it with seawater and you build a pond. And the pond is somewhere where you can now catch fish using your net, and you can deposit them in the pond. And the pond keeps them fresh. It's like a natural fridge for those fish. This is capital up. This is the next bit of up, up, down. This is about saying, all right, once I've got myself into a position where I can see, I have headspace and I can decide what to do next, how do I build a system so that when something goes wrong, I'm not instantly wiped out? So now all of a sudden you could live for a week or two, several weeks, maybe a month, from the fish that are in the stock inside your pond. That's your capital that you've established inside your business. And then the final bit of this would be the recognition that if something goes wrong with that pond, back to square one. So then all of a sudden you introduce new capital goods and you start to smoke some fish, you build another pond, and you diversify that risk away from your business. And you get rid of these single points of failure, and all of a sudden now you're margin up, capital up, risk down. And this is you on a desert island living forever. And we think you can do the same sort of things inside a business context.
Yeah.
And the way to think about all the stuff that's not your core business is, all right, am I up, up, down? Am I margin up, capital up, risk down?